Hello and welcome back. I must say, it looked as though it was going to be a rather disappointing evening as the programme got underway just over an hour and a half ago, but things have really picked up in a very big way. Some very encouraging calls, and so far we know there are already 2 arrests. Sue.
Well, first, the Metropolitan Police appealed for help in the investigation into the murder of an 11-year-old boy, Wayne Taylor, in Brixton, South London. At about 4 o'clock, someone who looked like Wayne had been seen near the Southwick House Council estate. A short time after that, he called into a shop in Atlantic Road nearby, looking for his father.
You see my dad?
No, I haven't seen him for years.
He went back to that shop twice more, still hoping to find his father. At 7 o'clock that night, Wayne was seen alive for the last time in Atlantic Road. And our forensic tests have proved that whoever killed Wayne Taylor was the same man who attacked and sexually assaulted a 9-year-old boy, also in Brixton, 8 months earlier. Well, Bill Lavers has been in charge of this case and taking the calls. What sort of calls have you had?
Well, we've had lots of calls suggesting the identity of the man who may or may not be called Derek, and they'll all be followed up.
Right, and there's a description of him. That was the description given by the 9-year-old boy who was attacked by the same man a year ago. That was 20th of June 1989.
That's right.
Where did that attack take place, and what do you want about that?
That took place on Brixton Hill. The 9-year-old boy was walking up Brixton Hill at 12 o'clock at night. I would have thought somebody might well have seen him. He was also assisted by 2 people after the attack, and we still have not had any calls from them.
And that was by the Shell Garage in Brixton Hill?
That's by the Shell Garage at the top of Brixton Hill.
Right. And of course it's crucial to find somebody who saw Wayne after 7 o'clock on that day, the day he died, which was Monday, February the 19th.
That's right, yes, Monday the 19th. Between 7 and 11, he's not been seen after 7. On his own or with anybody at all. We're still anxious to see anybody who saw Wayne after 7 o'clock on the 19th of February this year.
Because, of course, there is concern for other children while this man's still alive.
While this man's alive, while this man is about, there's still concern for other children, yes.
Mr Lavers, thank you.
Thank you.
We've heard from Northumbria Police that 2 men they were looking for in connection with a murder in Ryhope in Sunderland have just been arrested. If we get more on that while we're on the air, we'll tell you. Now let's see what's been coming into Incident Desk. Here's Jackie Hames. Jackie, let's start with the Hatfield robbery. That was an attack on a Security Express van.
Yes, 23 calls, some names for the suspects in the video, but including one caller who said that they were in the car park of the Lloyds Bank, which is in fact opposite Barclays where the attack took place. They were there on the morning of the robbery and saw 3 men in a black GTI. So please, if you're watching, please call back. What you could tell us could be very important, and although you may not realise it yourself, so please call back.
One of the other cases you dealt with, the sort hard to get calls on, that was the sex attack at Denham, the Thames Valley area.
Yes, although we've had 20 calls, none are very encouraging. So please remember the photo of it was very accurate. If you have any idea where this man is or who he may be, please call us now.
What about that robber at the Building Society in Harrogate, the chap in the flat hat? What happened to him?
Although we've only had 6 calls on this case, it's definitely quality rather than quantity. 3 of the calls gave possible names, and one in particular has enthused the officers. Unfortunately, I can't say too much about it, but fingers crossed next September we'll have good news.
OK, Jackie. Sue.
Well, on the night of last month's programme, Thursday, May the 10th, 2 men kidnapped a man at gunpoint in Norfolk and stole his car in order to commit a robbery at an antiques dealer's house 50 miles away in Cambridgeshire.
I've got to take the car. I'll be about 20 minutes.
You can't leave us like this. We might be here for days.
I'm not a merciless bastard. I'll call the police.
Well, the men escaped, taking the antique dealer's BMW and £50,000 worth of antiques and jewellery. Mr Craig's been taking the calls on this. What sort of calls have you had?
Well, we've had a terrific response. We've had numerous calls, many of them suggesting possible suspects, and in fact some of the calls have been leading in the same direction.
So you've had some names for the 2 gunmen and
yes,
the...
indeed we have, yes.
What about the 2 cars, the red Astra and the white BMW convertible?
Well, I would reiterate to members of the public that there was a red Astra, index number E357JJU, and the BMW convertible, colour white, index number E811OEG. We are still anxious to trace anyone who saw those vehicles during the relevant time.
Because it would have been a strange sight. Remember, it's the small hours of Thursday, May the 10th, very late at night, Thursday, May the 10th, and the early hours of the morning, Friday, May the 11th.
That's right.
If you saw those cars. So we're talking about quite a wide area. If we can look at the map, we can see it's about 50 miles in diameter. Dickleborough, Starston or Thetford Forest in Norfolk and Upend in Cambridgeshire. If you saw anything suspicious, give us a ring. There is a reward in this, isn't there?
Yes, I would reiterate that to the members of the public as well. There is a substantial reward. These men are dangerous and need to be caught.
Mr. Craig, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, let's go to Aladdin's cave now. Incidentally, lots of people have rung up and said, can we see the items again? It would take us another 5 minutes to go through them again. If you want to see them, you can, by appointment, see them at Reading Police Station in Berkshire next week. What's been claimed, though, so far?
Well, we've had a few calls from suggesting the Leeds area for the football medallion, Nick. Quite an interesting suggestion, anyway. The candelabra a bit further south, Nottinghamshire. A gentleman's convinced that that was stolen from Nottinghamshire 6 or 7 years ago. Another silver tea set here. Lady's convinced it's her EPNS set.
Electroplated nickel silver.
But it's not, alas. It's solid silver. So
alas about that. No. Except it's not hers, therefore.
It's not hers, all right, for sure.
What about the snuff box, which is the most distinctive piece?
Yes, I would have thought that this, above all the objects that we're shown here, would have created a lot of interest. The cover, by the way, is later inscribed Dr. D.J. Hall in memoriam of his late uncle, Sir D.J.B. Dixon, which I assume is the Sir David Dixon that's referred to in here.
Still unclaimed?
Still unclaimed, and a very distinctive and very much an individual object.
OK, Eric, let's hope someone recognises that now. Sue?
Well, we showed 4 faces on Photocall this month. David Hatcher, first of all, has anybody recognised the hippie, Ira Heinhorn, who left the States after the body of his girlfriend was discovered in her apartment?
Right, so, well, he won't exactly be a hippie now because he's 50, but we've had a number of different sightings throughout the UK, including one from a former associate who knew him 6 years ago, and he's given us lots of contacts to follow up, and that may well lead us to where Ira Einhorn is somewhere in the UK now. So that's quite promising. Then we were looking for Stephen Davis, who we think might have helpful information about a serious attack on a woman in Essex. Well, we've had about 25 calls, all with sightings in the same area, and one from someone who said they've given him a lift, and we think that might lead us to an address. So that looks very promising.
Then there was Leonard Matthews. We had a few calls on that before the end of the main programme.
Yes, that case concerned serious sex attacks on a 14-year-old boy. We've had a number of sightings of Leonard Matthews in amusement arcades, and we also remember appealed for sightings of his car, that white Skoda D88LAH. Well, we've had sightings of that too, and we've also had somebody call in who tells us that he may well be calling himself Ron Wickens now, so that too looks promising.
And finally, Stephen Lane, who escaped from Ford Prison in Sussex last year.
Yes, Hertfordshire Police want to speak to him. Well, he's been seen very recently. Police are following that up now, and again we've got links with other associates and a sighting at Silverstone yesterday.
Okay, David, thank you.
Well, next our appeal for anyone who may have seen the getaway of 3 armed men who just tried and failed to rob a branch of the Midland Bank at St Helens on Merseyside. Their escape in a stolen Golf GTI was almost foiled by a quick-thinking and courageous JCB. You pleased or disappointed with the result?
Tremendous response, both here and back at St Helens. As a direct result of this programme, we've traced not only the driver of the Land Rover in Water Street, we've also traced a gentleman who we feel has seen the GTI being stolen.
Excellent. So 2 key witnesses. I don't know if we've got the video fits of the 3 men, but there was the chap who had a shotgun. There was a man who had an axe. They were pretty dangerous people, these. And then
men, yes.
Also a man who was driving the getaway car. Anybody put names to those yet?
As yet, no, which is a little disappointing. I feel that there's a large number of people there who know the identity of these men. I'm sure it's been discussed openly. I'm sure that these men are now bragging about the offence and also the sequence of events. And I'm appealing to those people to contact us here.
OK, thank you very much indeed. Sue?
Well, that's it for this evening and for the series. We're back after the summer break on September the 6th. If you think you can help with any of tonight's cases, please don't hesitate to ring. The lines will still be open now for another half an hour. The local police numbers will all be coming up on your screen in a moment.
Meanwhile, do enjoy the summer holiday. Don't have nightmares. Remember, we're going to be back in September. Till then, have a great time. Don't have nightmares, do sleep well. Good night.
Good night.